welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Business Morning, coming to you live from Channels Television, broadcasting from Lagos. I am Bolaji Akinwale, and we will be beginning our conversation before we went on break, and it will be on renewable energy. It seems to be a topic that many people are not used to, but of course on the today's edition of the program, we'll be looking at that and to explain to us what all of this would mean and what benefit this will bring to our economy in general is Ebube Ebisike. He is the creative director, Team Nigeria, at the World Solar Challenge. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you
for
coming on the program.
Thank you.
I'd like you to start on this note by letting us to understand what renewable energy is.
Well, to start with, renewable energy is that form of energy that doesn't allow for so much of the production of greenhouse gases. One of the biggest problems the Earth is facing today has to do with the fact that we're producing so much CO2 and other gases that are affecting the atmosphere. The tendency for that happens to mean that there are health issues, there are economic issues. It's actually very expensive to extract fossil fuels from the Earth, and the likelihood is that entire burning allows the Earth to become too hot. The temperature rise obviously affects virtually every other thing, you understand, within the environment, and with regards to your health, respiratory issues and all that.
Okay, I know that this is more particular about climate change.
Exactly.
This has been
That's precisely the word.
And on by developed countries, not just those of us here in Africa. We're just beginning to, tag along and ensure that we also put our house in order. But I'd like us to look at the fact that where do we belong? Where does Nigeria stand when we talk about renewable energy? When we look at the fact that other countries are also moving towards, using more of renewable energy for economic development?
Well, currently Nigeria is not doing so well, but there is the potential to go there. This has sparked the reason why we have done a comprehensive letter to Mr. President explaining, how we need to empower ourselves to take us from where we are to become, large users of renewable energy. Incidentally, there are so many areas that you could look at, like obviously the use of solar landfills to be able to create electricity. You look at the conversion of our waste, instead of burying waste, converting it to diesel. You have the use of CO2 and even algae, to produce biofuels. We have a lot of wind energy, and then we also have hydroelectric, because basically Nigeria is positioned around a lot of water bodies. So it's something that we should take advantage of, in a nutshell.
Okay, how much investment have we made into all of this? I know that we're not just started, we've started.
Yes.
But to what extent have we made commitment to this?
Well, we've seen a bit of this in northern Nigeria and a few places scattered around the country, but nothing really concrete. That's why there are propositions for government to take a look at, the possibilities around these. And we've been able to build extensive relationships and are willing to offer a lot of this technology to both, investors locally, private investors, and alongside government, so that they can look at expansion, create jobs, reduce health-related issues, related to climate change and the quality of the air around us, especially given the fact that Nigeria is trying to industrialize. So we must be ready for challenges that come with that.
So how much should we be looking at in terms of investment?
Whoa, I'd probably say if it isn't out of the ordinary, we'll probably be looking at an investment of from about maybe $1 billion in the next 3 to 5 years. And I don't think it's too much to do, because having to put that kind of money into creating the kind of infrastructure that can absorb people and create jobs, the likelihood is that you can drive the economy by as much as over 5 to 10% and increase your GDP quite extensively.
Because I have some numbers here. I just want
Okay.
to read them out. Last year, Africa had about $4.3 billion invested in renewable energy. Now, this is, if you look at the total figure worldwide, we have it at $268.7 billion. That's quite massive. When we consider how much we need to put into this?
Well, the other countries, Kenya, South Africa, are far ahead of us in terms of what they have decided to commit to
Or
that
even
sector.
Ghana.
And even,
I
of
hear
course,
Ghana
yes.
is also there.
Yes. They have been able to put extensive funding for their technologies and create research and infrastructure, put that in place that can, drive the economy and reduce that labor on fossil fuels. So.
Okay. And now, if we look at the fact that there are a lot of opportunities that are inherent in this solar renewable energy business,
Okay.
to what extent are we going to benefit from it?
Well, two of the greatest things renewable energy does for you, especially solar, is that it doesn't produce any greenhouse gases. So you don't have issues like you would have in oil, where you have a force majeure that causes for you to lose, that flow that is required to meet your benchmarks in terms of profitability and all that. It also reduces health-related issues. So solar particularly is, one other thing also is that it's completely enormous and free. So essentially, if you were to tap into that, you could possibly imagine, the enormity of being the third planet not so far from the sun, and then we have access, to so much solar energy. We should virtually have so many, we should probably be building, solar farms of all kinds and tap into it to solve the infrastructure issues we have with electricity and power.
Some developed countries seem to have developed the solar farms.
Of course.
And we need to also key into it. And, for some state governments in Nigeria, I want to say perhaps 1, 2, 3 are already taking advantage of the solar energy.
Yes.
In Lagos, for instance, this is where we are, some street lights are made of solar.
Yes.
They attempt to generate light, when the sun is out, it's not
Yes.
raining.
Yeah.
So how much involvement should state government also make towards this? Because we always look at the federal government, we also always look at the center. What is the federal government, what are they doing about this? But the state government as well, to what extent do you think that they're also trying to tap into the potentials of solar energy?
Well, the Lagos state government has made some foray in that area. Lagos is a $31 billion economy, the largest, possibly on the continent. And where you have as much as 20 million people plus, tendencies, you obviously, we go back to, you want to create jobs, viable jobs. You want to ensure you protect the environment. You want to create a future city, because that is precisely what Lagos is, especially with the birth of the likes of Eco-Atlantic and several other projects of that kind. You want to build an ecosystem that is worth its place in the global community, essentially also to attract investment. So the very likely thing is Lagos obviously needs to put in a whole lot more than they're doing. We've made propositions of several kinds to be able to solve the issues of managing resources, especially waste. Lagos has the largest landfill in Africa at the Olusosun in Ojota here. And you can imagine how much of that we can convert to, renewable energy by converting all that waste possibly to a product like diesel. It would obviously help run the economy better. There'll be earning royalties and so much like that. So it's an area that, irrespective of whatever the federal government is doing, the state governments need to look very much into it, draw up a master plan and engage. And eventually the profitability is there at the end of the day. Normally, let me just add that renewable energies, especially solar, require the fact that you're putting a huge initial infrastructure. But over time, it's far cheaper than running on fossil fuels at the end of the day.
Okay, you mean that it's not as expensive as we think?
No way, not in the cumulative at the end of the day. If you look at, if you actually have your business plan done up, and if you look at extensive international research, you will see that the initial infrastructure and funding required can be huge, but over time it is quite spread out. It's far, far cheaper.
I understand that we made our first solar car. It's been manufactured, or is in the process of being manufactured. Could you tell us more about that?
Well, Nigeria made history by being the second country in Africa to be invited for the World Solar Challenge. Now, that is one of the most prestigious technology events anywhere in the world. Most people who are part of building that car abroad, I would like to say, most of them are either physicists or astronauts. The Dutch have won it 5 times. Professor Wilbur Urkels, who is at the Delft University of Technology, was behind that, and he's an astronaut for the European Space Agency. Now, the thing is, we want to build this car as a symbol of our advancement, as a symbol of the fact that we need to take seriously renewable energy and technology, as a symbol of the fact that Nigerian technologists and scientists can compete with the world. And that has birthed the fact that we put in for the competition. They looked at our application, and they were quite enthused with what we're trying to build. Actually, I'll start by congratulating Nigerians that we are attempting to build what is called the Eagle Mobile 9-volt solar car, a car we hope eventually will win in Australia in 2015.
So, when is it supposed to be?
Well, it's supposed to hold between the 18th and the 25th of October in 2015 in Adelaide, Australia. We're supposed to, move the car or drive the car all the way from Darwin to Adelaide. It's a 3,000 kilometer course that is very grueling. It requires that we actually, sign up indemnities in order to be able to protect, team members and all that. But I think the greatest thing that we look forward to is possibly becoming champions. It's no different from what the Super Eagles are trying to do at the World Cup. That's the equivalent of this. This is the solo World Cup of the entire world. So Nigeria is quite thrilled to be, a part of that competing, a part of the competition at the event in 2015 for the first time.
Okay, we have so much to talk about before we wrap up the show, but I'd like you to hold your thoughts for just a minute. We'll go on a break. We've been talking to Ebube Ebisike. He is the director, Team Nigeria, at the World Solar Challenge that is coming up in Australia next year. And we have been looking at renewable energy. What advantage does this have for Nigeria? What potentials does it have, and how can we tap into it and ensure that our economy benefits without having to pay so much to develop it? We'll be right back.